we're satisfied with that. And then that's why we chose the name, As-Sabiqun. To go out, to win a race, to be first. As-Sabiqun will go out and fix things before other people even know they need to be fixed. And they're going to, that's what As-Sabiqun means. The ones that go out first, the ones that accept the responsibility. As-Sabiqun also has certain protections. In the dictionary, it says that he turned without no information. In other words, it's like you're getting ready to get hit by something and you duck, and the thing goes over your head and you don't know why you ducked, you just ducked. You know. And that's the way our existence has been. It's been a very unique existence that we've been living in and through. So, what's our mission right now? Our mission has always been very clear. It's the College of Islamic Movement Studies. College of Islamic Movement Studies, Department of Strategic and Islamic Studies, so that in the very near future, we are going to be doing that. With all of our, if you notice the property that comes up empty, we don't do nothing to fill it up. What I mean is, like, if so-and-so was living next door, right? Oh, he left there over a year ago. While we ain't, and we got it, all we got to do is put some carpet on the floor, we could move somebody in there. We don't want to move nobody in there, right? Imam Tufel passed away quite some time ago, but nobody's there. The brother just moved out up there on 8th Street. Those are all institutional headquarters for what we're going to do this go-round. And what we've been doing this period of time is just that you have to have what they call rest and recuperation and a period of analysis and testing. Okay? Everything that we're doing, okay, we mentioned, that was back in 2008, about institution building, some of our lectures, institution building and all of that. Well, David and Goliath, you know, David and the system is Goliath and his forces, you know. So we already know what we've been up against. All the time, from day one, from 40 years ago. But the more we've traveled along this road, the more distinct, the more accurate, and the more, it's getting a little unbelievable. Because you know, people think maybe you get a little older, you get a little drifting in the mind. Well, you can't remember some things until you could look at a thing and you're trying to tell somebody about something. Now, you go get in that, what is that? It's a car, of course. But you know the word, yeah, I guess y'all ain't getting that old yet. You're looking at something and, you know, go get in that thing. It's like my father used to do me when I was younger. He would look at me and he would say, I didn't know then why he was saying, and he would be thinking for me. And he said, boy, go get me. He didn't forget my name. It's okay. You know, I didn't know it then because I didn't know about age. And he the one gave it a name. Boy, go get me such and such. He actually didn't forget my name. But that's what you do at that age. You know what I mean? Anyway, dear believers, we're at a nice historical time. So all the things that we have here, physically, we're going to do fundraisers, this, that, and other, to raise funds to use the things that we have here, the physical properties that we have here. And we're gonna move all the stuff out that's old, and we have to remodel, you know, this building. And we'll touch up even that one a little bit more. We'll touch up this, we'll touch up there on 8th Street, and we will build more on the properties that we already have. We'll build like from the ground up. Okay. Because that was the reason that we came here in the first place. That was the reason that we established what we, okay. Now, if we say we're going to do this, that, and another, and suppose we say it, but we strip everything down and we make everybody go by certain guidelines, well, boss man not going to help you do it then. Or he'll prevent you from doing it because you have enough sense to realize what you're dealing with. So when we came here, all the meetings we had, strategic management, repression, As-Sabiqun, we knew who all the people were in our organization. We just kind of knew it. You know, Abdul Malik them was, we just knew. You know, after 100 years, you got to get a smell for what you're dealing with, right? And they have acted exactly according to what we expected. Everybody, the men and the women, acted exactly as they were programmed to. That's the way it happened, okay? But see, we don't hold nothing against people. If we say, hey, you go join the police department so to help save some Negroes down the line, right? Or go get your education and join in the system so that you can protect yourself from the system, right? That's our line now. Our line before was stay away from the system, But now, it's an emergency. We haven't got time to raise no 100, 200,000 people ready to go in the movement to protect, no. So you fill up the police departments, you fill up all the institutions that they got, right? If you want to help the climate, join the whatever it is, and put on a forest ranger, Smokey the Bear outfit and stuff, right? No matter what college degree you got, because you got to get where the problem is, right? You can't vote no problem in. The people you could vote in with Jesus Christ, it wouldn't get nothing. They'd stick him in the back and re-hang him, you know. Of course, they didn't hang him the first time, but I mean, they thought they did. Anyway, so de-Israelization of Islamic movement in North America. You have to remember, this is from old stuff, but we've been saying that for decades. De-Israelization of Islamic movement, that means we've been aware that the Zionists control the Islamic movement in North America and everywhere else just about. They just do. And they make their people famous, and they make you unheard of. Well, suppose you was moving to be heard from, and that you would be sad and unfunctionable if I want the microphone too. We don't say that. We say, get a microphone, niggas a mic, give it to them. Let them roll. What? Let them roll, right? Because we're on a different. Now, one of the highest forms of these days, it says, keep your plans to yourself, but no. Show your plan. Remember, we're different that in history, other people's generals over there, they got armies, they got people, they got to keep all these stuff to themselves and all that. Okay, we don't have no army like that. And boss man is here, and you're from here, and he got you loaded up with his people, right? So you're not going to get anywhere to keep something from boss man unless you just keep it all the way to yourself. And boss man will bust you upside your head and put stuff in your head that he might be able to, you know what I mean? So you have to also include that. Are you going to include that? Well, boss man may have a little message system he didn't put in up there, so. If there's a code for red, you know, if he's got a electrode, and when you think of red, this clicks up on his thing. When you think of anger, that clicks up. So you might decode it. So when you're actually thinking about red, you'll train yourself to think about pink. It's close to red, but it's not red. So all you're trying to do is get the boss man off 10, 15% in his calibration and calculations. And you do that on everything, across the board, right? So when you think about advertisement, you think about propaganda. Why propaganda? Because in Spanish, advertisement means propaganda. But you're going to reverse it on him and think about advertisement when you're really thinking about propaganda. You see what I mean? They don't think that they got enough sense to do that. Well, it's just in case. It seems like there has to be some validity because the way things are going. Hey, somebody's paying attention. What was that, about a year or two ago? We was talking about the big meeting they was having with the Russians and I'll have to go back and look at the book. But anyway, we came in and said that when we said this, they did that. Okay, right now, today, last week, when we've been sending out feelers about Afghanistan and what our believers have to do, right? The next thing that you can hear, you can even see it on the news, right? That Iran says, okay, they had a six-nation meeting. Remember that? They just had it last 2 weeks ago. Yeah. That everybody touching that base would be involved now, so that Taliban or whoever want to get mad or turn on Iran, they can't drag Iran into nothing. They have to drag all the people around it. You see what I mean? Or everybody would be looking at it. What that means is our allies are getting pretty good. They're not like they was several years ago. They're getting pinpoint accurate, you know. It's almost like saying, we can go on about our business now and take care of our own business. Because that period was to look out for the global movement business. And that period was to talk about all the things that we talked about. Aiding your friends, blockade running, and the way they just did this ship, seemed like that there's a direct line from here to there. Right? This ship that they just, that's okay, right? But it does, something is happening. And somebody here is in tune with the global workings around the world. And whoever's in tune may have had a pause for a special reason, for Tazkiyah bil Nafs, to try to advise people along the way. And see, advice comes from strangest places. That as you move forward, here's the things to guard against. Although everybody got their own method, seem to be doing pretty good. But there's some special things. On Africa, if we're talking to China, they may not be performing exactly like in 1970, 71, and 72 when they built the Trans-Am Railroad, right? They might have begun to smell themselves a little bit, and they might be easing into the Western concept of control and and loaned out and build all these things, and the people need you to come in and maintain them. Instead of you teaching them how to build them and maintain them. The Trans-Am Railroad was built with Chinese and African labor. So the Chinese had to had to teach the Africans. And guess what we knew in Africa? The Chinese worked twice as hard on our railroad than we did. They said, why y'all working so hard? Well, the Chinese for 4,000 years have been working like ants, right? You can see it in martial arts movie. Everything is woo, and everybody woo, right? Everybody, right? They've been doing it so long, they do that, right? Negroes don't do that. They do different things, and they got different gratuities that they've accustomed themselves with. We have to tune into those things and inspire people with the inspiration they need according to their culture. Remember, they say Marxist Leninism, Chairman Mao, with Chinese characteristics. So if you look at their system, they out-capitalize you, they out-socialize you, and they out-commonize you. Whatever you want to do, they can beat you at it. Because it's that thing with their characteristics, right? So with Americanism and all of that, guess what? We've been here all along, I'm just saying. And we can outdo everybody on that stuff coming from here. We can do that. That's our gift. Then the worst thing they're gonna think about when they look at what happened here in America is that we had them niggas over there. They helped us for a little bit, but when we needed to manipulate them, it was 2 or 3 of them that had sense enough to do this, that, and other, and it blew our whole thing. Yeah, so that 400 or 500 years of oppression was just a trap. Just like somebody trapped us into the Afghan war. Somebody trapped us right into the Iraq war. That's what it looks like. Of course, we know it was a lot trapped them, right? Well, the Russians, they did this to the Russians. So we'll go over there and we'll show them. And for a couple of months, boy, even the Russians was calling, man, y'all did a good job. Man, da-da-da-da-da. And the Russians was gone. Right? And they said, shoot, we're going to just destroy Iraq altogether. And people might have, they destroyed the whole thing. They destroyed the whole thing so you can rebuild it new. They destroyed Syria so you just have to rebuild it new. 21st century Middle East, right? Because they didn't destroy everything, right? They don't know that might have been their job to do that. They thought they were just oppressing and slaughtering and murdering people, right? That's what they thought. Okay, now, for us, re-Africanization of Islamic movement, not only in USA, not only in the USA, but we've had leaders that sometimes they raise them up, like Malcolm and King, but the general Negro leadership is not appreciated. Or, wait a minute, let me try to. they are appreciated all over the world, and people like Negroes. But the view that people have of us is still, we got rhythm and stuff like that, not management. That's why the Iranian that was going over the studies, that, the articles, strategic management under conditions of oppression and strategic management. See, what they had, they stopped filtering me into with everybody else. These 3-story apartments that they have right over, all those, I would always stay in one of those. And after a while, by myself. And they would come get me and take me to an institute, or they would come right there on the 2nd floor. It was a big conference room. On the 3rd floor, we lived up there, and all of that. And that's where they would be taking me, and they would be taking me to institutes. That general public stuff have been out for decades. Not decades, but for years. And so they knew that there was something going on, so they wanted to study. They was technically studying me. And when I was at, one of the brothers was an English teacher. He was to read my stuff and translate it to me. And after so much time, since his head, he said, man, my head is hurting because he's translating all of this stuff. You know what I mean? From Farsi. And the question he asked me was, did you write all of this stuff? I said, yeah, I wrote it all. I said, but if you have to read the stuff in the beginning and the stuff at the end. I said, the stuff at the beginning is when you study management and leadership and you using the basic guidelines. It's like, you may not notice, but a musician, when he first started playing, he plays all the popular tunes. Like a low-level musician. He can't play his own stuff because nobody ever heard it, and then who cares, right? So he learns how to sing like the popular songs of the time.